Like I see. Right, this is the first time we've printed. We haven't printed from this before, so this is a very dangerous thing to do in public.
Can we heckle?
Sorry?
Can we heckle?
Yes, you can heckle.
You don't do it like that.
Right, are you ready to do this? You've got to come around here now. So you've got to push this in till that's up to that line there. See that line? Right, come around here. You've got to look like a medieval printer. Put your foot there, pull as hard as you can. That's it.
Broken it.
It creaks like an ancient ship. Now, I haven't done it before. This is the first time you put ink on this, okay? So don't be excited. It might not come off. God! Your first print. Gutenberg was extremely efficient. So this is the one-pull press. This is a replica of the very first printing press invented by Gutenberg, obviously adapting wine presses, so the technology was known about. But when he made the very first press, he could only print one page at a time. And we know that because when you look at his very, very famous Bible, you can find on a spread the same damaged character on both sides, which proves that he could only print one page at a time. So if you were printing a full sheet, you'd have to choose. You'd have to print it 4 times, which, if you can imagine you've never printed a book before, you've got stacks of paper all round, you're having to anticipate what the ends and the beginnings of every page is going to be. You have to print it 4 times with damped paper, so you've got to keep the paper the same dampness every time. I mean, this is an incredible experience. But as a press, it's very, very simple. And this is a replica that we built for the BBC, who approached the department to do a programme with Stephen Fry about 12, 14 years ago. And they phoned up and said, had we got a Gutenberg press? And I said, no presses exist, but we can make you one. So one of my colleagues, who's a brilliant craftsman, Alan May, he built this on very scholarly research. And one of the things that completely amazes me is it's all right cutting the thread. How do you cut the nut that's in there? So you had to actually invent a particular piece of equipment that's based on classical studies, which showed you how you could cut an identical thread inside the nut, which is the real skill. Anyway, I was absolutely amazed that that printed so well. So there you go. Anybody else is very happy and you're like, yeah, you want to come and have a go. But just to complete the picture, Gutenberg didn't really invent printing because the technology in many ways existed. The press already existed in the form of wine presses. Paper had already been invented in China, because paper was very important, because if you didn't have paper and you were relying on parchment, you would have to slaughter half the calves in the whole of Europe in order to have enough bits of calf of parchment to print so many copies of the same book. Ink wasn't his invention because he was around at the same time in Northern Europe. Renaissance painters in Northern Europe were using oil paint as opposed to the water-based paints down in Italy. So the idea of using oil existed, but he adapted it very well and produced some of the best ink ever straight away. But the thing that he really did invent and involve, which is the crucial part of the process, is the adjustable mold. because he wanted to make type where every character had its own appropriate thickness, if you like, the letter I as opposed to letter W. So he invented a mold that was called adjustable, so you could open up and close the gap. He then had a punch cut. So you can see there's a letter M on the end of that punch. So this is hard steel, and somebody has cut and engraved the letter on that. He then got a softer metal, which is copper, and he literally punched that letter into the copper.
Yes.
Using an hammer.
Yeah.
He basically thumped it.
Yes.
And you can see the letter indented in there. This becomes a really important part of the whole process because this is the thing that creates the character. So you open up the mold, you pop the matrix, as it's now called, over the hole. You close it up, which means that if it was a letter I, it would close up more if it's blah, blah, blah. You turn it over, you get your molten lead, and you pour it down this little chute, and it instantly solidifies. And when you open up the mold, you would have that, which is the piece of type on the end, and this is where the metal has flowed through that funnel, if you like. You snap that off, you then clean up the type, and Bob's your uncle, you have a printable letter. And you have to do that, obviously, thousands and thousands of times. So the whole thing was, but that's really the essence of his invention. So anybody else want to have a go at the Gutenberg press?
I'm the oldest apart from Michael, so I think I'm allowed.
Right.
Right.
Grab your ink.
Yes.
Now, we're using a contemporary roller. At the time of Gutenberg, because they hadn't invented rubber or gutta percha, they didn't have rollers. They had not come up with the roller. That didn't happen until about 1800. They had these things, which are called inking balls. So when I demonstrated this on this program, I had to ink up using the inking balls. They work incredibly well. I was amazed, having never used one before, how efficient they are. The trouble is, you can't clean them. So at the end of every day, you have to take the leather off and steep it in a bucket of stale urine. So I imagine out the back door of the printers, you had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday buckets, and you use that to produce your urine. And I have been told that if you hide the type, which meant you dropped all the loose type, which is the worst thing you could do in a printing workshop, the punishment was to have the stale pee poured over your head. That could be a problem.
So,
Can I roll?
Yeah.
2 bits?
Yeah.
And another bit of ink?
Yeah. Honestly, so I have some hand, but so this is just flying on the pit.
Oh, missed a
Like
bit.
this.
Yeah, I noticed the top and bottom seem to be a bit thin.
Well, you have to go beyond. Okay. I think that's
okay,
good.
you're happy?
Yeah.
So we have to bring down the
The frisky.
and you'll notice that that's held off the type. So when we put the paper on, it's not actually sitting on the type yet. It's slightly held up. Okay. So now come on, put this down.
put this down.
Push it in until that reaches that pencil line there.
Till what does?
No, push this
that
one.
does. Yeah, go on then.
Yeah, push this one.
Yeah.
Up to here.
There.
Now grab that.
And here we go.
Not too vicious.
Yes.
Just a little bit of.
I'm just getting into it.
Well,
Got enough? Don't want to break it.
no, that's fine.
Okay. Setting cream.
Somebody did.
Yeah, I don't want to break it. And then?
So we'll just see whether it's consistently working.
Wow.
Make a living. Make a living from this. Can I have this? Well, that's bloody amazing. And you did all that typesetting yourself.
Yeah, no. The type is a genuine replica of Gutenberg's type, which actually came from America.
Well, this
So
is
it was
going
a
to go
private
around
press in
all.
America.
Okay. Wonderful.
Congratulations. Don't forget, these are